Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. Welcome, I'm Jen, and we are happy to have our co-host, Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza Podcast. Originating from the Republic of Kenya, he has established himself as a distinguished voice in the podcasting community. His work has been recognized with 3 nominations for Best African Diasporan Podcast by the APVA, along with a nomination for Best Blog by the Texas Creator Awards, and also a presenter at the Afros and Audio Podcast Festival and the 2026 Podfest. Hey, Samantha.
Hey Jen, what's up? How you doing today?
Pretty good. Good.
Another day, another dollar, right? Well,
Yeah,
for us, it's another day, another podcast.
true.
Yeah.
So there's that. I'm excited to have another guest for everyone. Thank you guys
Oh,
for rolling through the month of March, where we've had a theme of, or celebrating the theme of International Women's History Month. And so we have another great guest along with that theme. So we are excited about that.
right. And before I forget, I gotta give this shout out to Spark House Cafe. This is Thomas Chef T Sparks Brown, and his phone number is 904-397-1292. Met him in New Orleans, and he's a traveling chef, by the way. So he cooks Creole cuisine guaranteed to spark your taste buds. Personal chef, private dining, event catering, and meal preps. So I met this guy over at in New Orleans when I just visited the other day, and he actually subscribed to my podcast. And I was like, "Hey, you know what? You got a business? I'll give you a shout." So that's how it got on, and he's great. Actually, after that, my wife met them at the Super Sunday,
Hmm.
and I wasn't there. I was somewhere else. So that's how it went. But yeah,
Okay. That's cool to support another
so
independent business owner. So that's what's up.
patronizes business.
That's great. And so, we do want to introduce our topic before we introduce our guests, and before you share your affirmation. So, in honor of International Women's History Month, we have a guest who will share about her path as a business owner and the purpose driven mission behind her work. We're really excited to hear about that. Financial literacy is so important in the community, and so we're really excited to have that conversation. Additionally, we will gain insight into navigating unclaimed funds and after property loss, why financial literacy is key for protecting family wealth, and how resilience and knowledge can support a financial future, which is really important in the community here. So excited.
Yes, so let's get into our affirmation of the day. It says, I choose to see happiness everywhere. Affirmation of the day. I choose to see happiness everywhere.
Thank you for sharing that. We receive
All
that.
right.
And I
I,
think,
I see Brother Ed is here today. Thank you, Ed, for showing up. We say, peace, family. Welcome to the show.
all right. Thank you. And we have some other platforms going also. Is that right?
Yeah, so we're on StreamYard, Substack, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you listen to this particular podcast.
All right, sounds good. Okay, well, at this time, we will go ahead and introduce our guest so that we can get into this conversation. Our next guest is a results driven financial operations specialist professional with more than 15 years of experience across finance, compliance, and complex casework. She is the founder of Overage Surplus Recovery, where she helps underserved homeowners, heirs reclaim surplus funds and equity left behind after foreclosures by blending financial strategy with compassionate hands-on support. Through her work, our special guest educates communities about financial awareness, asset recovery, and how people can reclaim funds that may otherwise go unclaimed. Her mission centers on financial empowerment and ensuring families have access to resources that can help them rebuild after difficult financial setbacks. And so, with that, we welcome Miss Brenda Carter.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your fam. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to be able to share this information about how I can be impactful at the same time make people holistic. Because the one thing for sure is not just about helping people get the money; it's also making them whole. And so that's why I offer the financial literacy. That's why I offer guidance as to how they can after losing their home, how they can rebuild after losing the home.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
You see how Jen does a good job on introducing you, and it's just like, oh wow, yeah,
I appreciate that. I appreciate
yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
what we do is I do travel, and this time I travel back home, which is Kenya. I'm gonna sell Kenya. Kenya is a great country. Kenya has the great shoreline, sea shoreline, great
Uh-huh.
food. We got this band. If you have this, this is your ultimate entrance to Kenya and everywhere.
Really,
Um, yes,
my
yes.
my daughter's godmother actually was is engaged to someone, an elder, I want to say,
Mhm.
back in Kenya. I don't know if she finally did get married, but she's known him for over 20 plus years, and she finally decided to give him a go.
Oh, see, Jen, we out here. We out here. All right. So, proverb of the day from Kenya says, "A short man is not a boy." I'll repeat that again. A short man is not a boy. If you can interpret the proverb the way you think it is, that'd be awesome. You go first.
Me?
Yes. Overall answer.
So you want me to interpret what I believe it's saying?
Right.
Is that what it is? Okay. So I'm believing that the way you're communicating that to me, you're saying um, that this person, despite their height, they bring maximum potential, or should I say, their standing speak for itself. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's not the height. Is it you have the David and Goliath situation where people underestimate you and what your
Mm.
capabilities are.
Yep. I'll
All
take that.
right.
Jen,
That
what about
sounds
you?
good. Yes, I actually did some digging on this one earlier. So,
I didn't see that coming.
and she's right on track. From my understanding, is that you don't want to underestimate someone just because of their stature or their appearance, or don't judge a book by its cover type of thing. So yeah.
Right. See, so that's you all have said it right. And I had the same thing regarding the that particular proverb is a short man is not a boy. So when you see a short man, you don't at first glance don't you may see, okay, this is a small boy, but no, that's not it. Now when you maybe start engaging, that's when you realize, oh, that's not a boy. However, just don't make that first glance your only glance and make your final decision. So take time
Mhm.
with doing that. All right. So with that, let's get started. My first question will be, what inspired you to build a business in this very technical and often male-dominated financial space?
I started off doing an MLM and I got burned real bad.
Mm.
It was a complete scam. I later found out, and I had invested over $12,000 in this MLM business with credit repair and all these things
Mhm.
that they were offering. And then I happened to be scrolling, and I knew I wanted to stay in the realm of real estate and financial literacy because I have been, I'm also and I do at the time I was working for a large retail chain here in the South Florida area, doing accounting for many years with them, and I wanted another stream of income. And so this young man named Eric Richardson of Prestige Family Asset happened to be on YouTube talking about this business. I'm like, So I watched him for about 6 weeks, and I said, you know what? I'm going to make the investment. Took a leap of faith. I was like broke. I was broke. And so I made the investment and bought his actual course. Didn't do nothing with it. But then later I spent more money and bought the bigger course, which was a one-on-one training. And listen, I had owed American Express a whole bunch of money. But I made this investment, and that investment ended up paying me back literally in less than 6 months. I was able to pay American Express back their money, and at the same time, I was able to be helped because it put me in the realm of, okay, not only do I, at the time I was a mortgage loan officer, and I was working towards becoming a private investigator, which I became a private investigator now. I'm no longer doing mortgages. However, I do work with people that do mortgages. And with that, I was able to take this information, helping people who've lost their home due to tax and mortgage foreclosure, as well as bankruptcy, and not just help them get the money, but also make them whole and say, okay, you've lost the house. How can I be of service? It's not just about getting the money in your pocket. How can we take this tragedy and make a comeback from there? So that in doing so, I said, okay, we get you the money. Let's do a plan of action. So my goal is I'm going to sit with you. I'm going to get you the counseling that you need. I'm going to get you with the right people that do proper credit repair. That's not going to scam you out of your money. That to get you back in the road. And the goal is to get you back into a home in the next 2 to 3 years if you choose to. But at least you're rebounding and you're not looking at your past. You're looking at the future. My goal is to make you look at the future, make you whole, not just get the money, but to make you whole. And a lot of family members and a lot of what I have found is when people lose their home, 50% of the time it's someone that passed away.
Okay.
And they didn't know that when that family member passed away, and family members and children, grandchildren, and they're like, they don't want to be the upkeep of that home, and so they let it go to foreclosure. And then when you reach out to them, like, hey, you do know that your money you're entitled, and they don't believe it until I show them the state statute. This is nationwide. And there are some states that they put it as part of their general fund. If you don't collect this money in a year, guess what? They get to keep the money. And this is millions and millions of dollars that people have no clue that they're entitled to.
And it's funny, I in my prior life, I worked in the mortgage industry for many years as a processor. So you were a loan officer, is that right?
Yeah, mortgage loan officer. I was with the credit union for 2 years before I decided to transition and just go full-time doing just this. So I do that, and then I have other side hustles, but doing this has been very helping people, walking through the process, offering cash for keys, negotiating with the new homeowners, like, hey, let's negotiate. This person just lost their house. Let's work this out. And I have either negotiated that we do a cash for keys, or I have given them enough time and worked out the financials to get them out of the home and into some place that's safe until they get paid out.
Okay. Now, for someone who's never heard the term before, surplus was it surplus funds or overages? If you could, for someone who may not be familiar, but I think we've all heard of foreclosures and things like that, but a lot of people may not be so aware of the surplus funds that may be available.
So when you hear surplus funds or excess proceeds, that's pretty much is the money that is left over after the mortgage lender have collected the debt that you owe them. So let's just say the home was sold for $500,000, but the mortgage lender was only entitled for $250,000. Guess what? The state statute says they get that title, providing that there's no second lien holder, or there's no other credit cards or any other debts that you're entitled to, you get to keep that remaining balance to allow you the opportunity to recover, regroup, and start your life over again. It's a restart. So I look at it as a restart. It may be a setback, but we can do a restart from the setback.
Because my understanding that it sells for less than what is owed on the mortgage, right? But they're just willing to take whatever they can get, type of thing.
No, it's actually sold for more. So let's
sold for more. Okay.
So whenever that, as long as the home is not taken back by the actual bank, and it is sold by a third party. A third party is anybody except the bank, meaning that if someone outside the bank, so if the bank, the mortgage lender, or the bank is owed a certain dollar amount, that remaining balance, the overage over the amount of the mortgage, that homeowner is entitled to that remaining balance.
The difference. Okay, got it.
The difference of that. And so that's where they call surplus funds or excess proceeds.
So this happens like you said, for example, somebody passes in the family, and let's say, for example, an uncle of mine passes on, and then they leave a house. Is it that the person cannot maintain the house, or they don't want to take over the house? Because I'm looking at that because, like, I want to get my uncle has a house. That's more property.
But there are situations where other family members don't want to maintain it. They don't want to pay for the mortgage. They don't want the responsibilities, and so they let it go to foreclosure, or they can't afford it for whatever reason. They can't afford to maintain that for whatever reason. It may have been the sickness, job loss, or they were even unaware of it. There was a situation just recently where I was dealing with a daughter whose mother did a reverse mortgage, and and then the mortgage lender did an audit and found out she passed away, and immediately filed foreclosure process, and didn't inform the daughter, and the daughter was devastated that she lost the house, because had she known or been made aware, she would have tried to save that house.
Right. Because, and I want you to share on this, Miss Brenda, like in this scenario that Sambaza put out there, family member passes away. It depends on if there's a mortgage out there, right? So if there is a mortgage,
it don't necessarily have to be a mortgage. It could be a tax. If you don't pay your taxes, guess what? They're gonna sell your house. The house may be paid off, right? And you don't pay your taxes. Guess what? They're taking that house.
But if there is a mortgage, that's even a bigger task, because you have to basically refinance it that in your name if whichever heir is trying to take over, if they decide to keep the house going, if there's a mortgage out there.
Yes, but they would have had to file legal documentations to make sure that they're able to allow them to get the home, because sometimes these mortgage lenders, they will fight tooth and nail not to let you keep the home,
even if there's a mortgage on there. Okay. Because something similar happened in my family. My mother passed away, but before she did have a deed prepared, putting it to my brother. Okay. And so, but what we found out is that he still had to go and get another deed, but they said it was good that she did do the initial deed, because now that he don't have to do probate, because she did, because she was like, oh, if you didn't do that, because it's like, dang, we got to do another deed.
Yeah, because I believe what she did was, if anything happened to her, then it's like a death on deed. Okay. I forgot the name of it, something, a death or deed, and that way you navigate around the probate. But not everyone knows to do that. Not everyone knows to go and put something in writing to avoid going through probate. A lot of these people that are losing their home are people in their 70s and 80s and 90s, with this economy, they're expecting at least an increase of over 30% of foreclosures, especially in Illinois, especially in California. Like, I was looking at the numbers in Florida, and I live in Florida. It is increasing. It is not decreasing.
Yeah, and that paperwork is deep, though, because like she did take that extra step. She had to meet with a lawyer. She had to pay like $500, $800, to get this filed and all of that. And most people wouldn't think to do that,
But they are not knowledgeable. That's where that
Mm-hmm.
comes to play. People don't know to go and get these additional insurances and protections that, hey, if something happens to me, uh, let's use this insurance to cover what happens to me. People don't know, okay, let me get this insurance. If I die, I know that I had this insurance that's going to protect me. People don't know to go buy insurance to protect them if someone passed away. The people do not know if you to make the investment of having a life insurance. People don't make those investments. They don't know to do that.
Interesting.
And so that's where I come in and say, okay, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I can do. And some of them are angry. They're going through different, just like there's different griefs, stages of grief. Same thing when you're dealing with losing a home. And some people are angry because you're calling them, and they're like, I don't want the money. I want my house. This is where my memories are. Some people grew up in their home. They had children and they didn't want to lose. They'd rather keep it. But for whatever situation that they were in, they lost it. They couldn't find a way to navigate around it.
So, are you saying that there's a lot of financial literacy, especially around property and foreclosure, especially amongst, I don't know, I'll put it in general, and maybe you can give us statistics, maybe us and them, if I want to put it like that. But in the Black community, is there more? Is it more disparaging on that end than our Caucasian brothers and sisters?
I would say that it's more so in, I would say, not just us, but in the Hispanic community. And it's like, it's across the board, literally across the
Hmm.
board. A lot of us are being impacted, literally a lot of us. And especially with the rise of the immigration situation, people are just abandoning the home and going back to their country. They're abandoning the home and they're walking
So, what
away.
kind of scenario will happen to something like that if you have a house and you took off and left your house and had to go back? I'm going to take an example of somebody who goes to Mexico. What will happen to that kind of a scenario if they say, "Oh, I left a house," and let's say you found this option? Would you be contacting them, or what is the recourse? Uh, I'm curious to know.
What do you mean by recourse? Meaning if they walk
Well,
away from the house,
right.
basically, it takes a while before the mortgage lender foreclose on you. They're going to try their best because honestly, they don't really want the property. They want you to pay them the interest for giving you the mortgage. They don't really want to. However, it takes a long time before they foreclose. But when they do foreclose, then it's documented. They have made so many they've made so many notices and calls and reached out to you, and then I get a notification, and I have pretty much a system that allows me to notify me, hey, this home is going up for auction. So I try to catch them before it goes into auction and say, hey, you have options. And I skip trace them. I track them down, and I try to see, hey, hey, what have you thought about, doing selling the house before you try to lose it? And some of them are like, they don't want to sell the house. Some of them, they're
Like a
like,
short sale, or
try to short sell or try to create a financing where somebody moves into the home. They walk away with nothing, but their their credit ends up staying intact. And so there's so many different options. And then there's some people that, after they lose the home, I come to them and I say, hey, here's the money. This is what they're saying that the potential amount is after all your creditors have gotten their portions. And then with my team of attorneys, I go in and I process the documentation. I collect the documentation that is necessary. And then I hand it over to my law firm to assist me in navigating and filing these motions. There's some states that are judicial, where it doesn't require an attorney, like Virginia, like Alabama, like, Georgia. And then there's some states like Florida, which is judicial, New Jersey, which is judicial. There's so many different states that are judicial. that I work in. I work literally nationwide. I don't discriminate. I literally work nationwide.
Okay.
That includes travel, right? For you, or you don't have
No,
to.
I don't even need to do that. I do it all at my home.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
don't have to travel to go anywhere. Everything is on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I need is on the computer.
oh,
Good.
Literally. If I want to know something about a property, I just go into my software, pull the information up,
Mm-hmm.
go to the different websites, and it tells me everything.
okay. And so when you get these amounts of, say for example, okay, my uncle had the house is being foreclosed. You called me, you told me that, and you told me this was the potential amount that I'm getting. So we go through all that, and
Well, it doesn't work necessarily that way.
Mm-hmm.
He had to have passed. Did he pass away? The questions I'm going to ask, if I reach out to you, I'm trying to find that homeowner. And
okay,
if that homeowner is alive, that homeowner is entitled. Now, it's a different story if that homeowner passed away. If that homeowner passed away, I need to find out, was he or she married? Were there children? Were there siblings? Were there grandchildren? It all depends. Every state is different.
Mm-hmm.
Every state have their way of how the money is allocated. It's like a pyramid. You determine if you were married, then guess what? The next of kin is the wife or the husband. If you were not married and you had children, then the next person would be the children. If there was no children, you weren't married, then guess what? Then it goes to your parents. Now, if your parents are deceased, if you had siblings, then your
Mm-hmm.
siblings would get the. You see
Like
where
the
we're
next
going with
of
it?
kin, right?
It's literally it drills down. It's a
Mm-hmm.
process
hmm,
It is. What are some of the challenges that you face in your business?
that people don't believe. It's true. They
Mm-hmm.
really do not
Mm,
believe. They think it's a scam, and I'm like,
right.
and I have to show them proof. I literally have to show them the state statutes. I
Mm-hmm.
have to show them the auction results. I have to, there are some states like Florida, we're very transparent. Will they say, hey, there is a surplus? They will, the sad thing about it is they will notify the people, but they will notify them at the last address. And guess what? They've moved out.
Mm-hmm.
They've moved out. They're not living
So,
in the house.
right.
They had to leave. And so there's letters are going out to addresses of homes that they used to live at, and they're unaware of this. So the hardest thing is convincing them that this is legit because they don't believe it.
So if
They
they
don't
don't
believe it.
pursue it, maybe they don't even know the funds just stay with the lender.
It all
Oh, Miss
depends
Lisa.
on it all
Oh, okay.
depends on that state, and all depends. Like in California, you have up to a year to collect your surplus.
Okay.
If you
Oh, a
don't collect it,
year. Wow.
they give you 1 year, and then guess what?
Mhm.
It goes to they add that as part of their general funds. They've already allocated, and they're hoping and praying that you don't go and collect that money.
Right. Wow.
And then there's
Good.
some states that they'll turn that over to they'll turn it over to the Treasury Department of that state. They were exchange they'll send it to the state after a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
because I see these unclaimed assets or unclaimed stuff like monies where you can collect the money over there.
And
Is that where?
that would be no. There's two different. There's the state that there's just the state funds, which is
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
money where it could be that you have a retirement or a bill that you had a credit or employer that owed you money. They're going to send it to the state because by law they have to do that. Any extra
Mm-hmm.
money that someone from the utilities or retirement or any type of revenue or money that's in a bank will go to the state. The state will go ahead, they will render those funds to the state to allow the state to disperse it to the person that they're entitled to. It's a whole different ballgame when you're dealing with tax foreclosures, mortgage foreclosure, or someone that's filed for bankruptcy. If somebody filed for bankruptcy and they've paid all their creditors and there's
Mm-hmm.
money left over, they're entitled to that remaining balance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's not just mortgage, not just tax. There is also bankruptcy. There's always state funds. People are unaware of those as well.
Yeah, I want to say that there's a website. I know in my state, Missouri, there's
All
where
of them
you
do.
can, yeah, they all do have a
Yeah,
site where you can go and check.
yeah.
So that's something to look into, yeah, guys, if you
You'll be
want to.
surprised if you're
Mhm,
surprised. Just Google your name. You'll be surprised. Go on that. Go to your actual state and pull your information. Like last year, I was able to collect $856 I was entitled to. I didn't even know for the
mhm.
state. That I didn't even know that was entitled to.
That's excellent.
Oh, wow.
That's excellent.
So
But
that's a lot of money going to the other
it
people.
is. It is.
Let's take a quick break with that, and then we'll come back here and continue. I wanted to say good evening to Spark House Cafe, and that's Thomas Brown. That's the guy I talked about before, and yeah, thank you for showing up and hanging out with us. We appreciate you. And like you said, we are available on Facebook, YouTube, Substack, and Clubhouse. Wherever you can find us, just go ahead and tune in. If you have any questions, we all have a lot of questions to ask. Go ahead and post your question, and it'll be answered today. So go ahead, Jen.
Yes. And so you shared about your background. Um, why is financial literacy, especially around property and foreclosure, so important to you?
Because I come from a background where my mother was an immigrant, was a Haitian immigrant. She came into this country with nothing, worked as a maid. Unfortunately, she never became a citizen in the U.S. She passed away in 2010. And I watched her struggle. I watched the times that we had no lights. Um, it was rough.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like Gone to the Wind. The movie Gone to the Wind, when a woman's out there and she said, I would never be like this again. And I saw how she fought hard for us to live in an affluent neighborhood in Miami Shores. We were the first Black family member in this apartment complex in Miami Shores in the 80s. That was unheard
Mm-hmm.
of. We were the very first Black. And she fought hard to stay in the affluent neighborhood because she didn't want her children being raised in a horrible neighborhood. I saw, uh, for me, being a single mom on Section 8, struggling.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't become a homeowner until I was 46. That was 6 years ago. uh, I saw what the mind frame of what Section 8 or living off the government does. It it's supposed to be set you up to be a hand up, but if you stick to that mind frame, you're always afraid to get off of that because you're believing that, oh, you need this, you don't want to get off of that Section 8. But in actuality, you should be using that Section 8 voucher to buy your home. People don't know that if you're on Section 8, you could turn around and use that voucher to buy a home. People
Oh,
don't
wow.
realize
Mm-hmm.
that if you just put a little bit away, it grows. The funds grow. And I saw what it did to me. I saw what it did to the mind frame. That financial literacy is freedom to be able to wake up in the morning and not have to worry about, okay, well, what bill I have to worry about paying, what what's going to get turned off,
Because for
what
Section 8, you only have to pay a portion.
But people live off of it for many years and don't use
Mhm.
that voucher to turn around and buy a house. They don't even know that they can turn around and buy a house with that. Do you
Okay.
know if you have a I and I was holding on to it, but of course my that was not my walk.
Okay.
And I started making a lot of money. And so when I started making money, um, Section 8 was like, you graduated the system. But I said, but I want to use the voucher. They're like, yeah, well, you can afford to buy your house. You don't need us.
Because it's an income requirement,
It's
right?
income based,
So,
and people are
yeah.
so scared to lose it. And I'm like, if you the
Mhm.
same amount of time or that framework or that thought process that you make to stay on it, that's the same mind frame that you can take and buy your own home, to become your own entrepreneur, to build financial wealth, to put money in a 401k, to create that IRA, to do all these things to better your life so that you're not dependent on any government entity but
Mhm.
yourself and God.
Mm-hmm. I'll say amen to that. You should have told us you're from Haiti. We could have said "Ça passe."
I am not from Haiti. My mother is actually. My father is
Well,
from West Virginia, and my mother's from
oh,
Haiti. But I do speak Creole fluently.
I did
ah,
see that on your LinkedIn, but I didn't want to bring it up unless you brought it up.
oh.
I saw that though.
Miss Brenda, that's we're international here. We want to know about what's going on. You know.
Yes, 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 yes. I do speak Creole fluently.
Okay.
Yeah, I do speak Creole fluently. I'm like a jack of all trades. I do a little bit of everything.
See,
I mean, I
I
even
see.
work for the government. What does that tell you?
Mhm.
And when now looking at your clientele, and you said the amount of money that you racked up, or you assisted in people last year, that was overwhelming. Um, you see, the clientele is diverse. Like you said,
It's very
you
diverse.
all over all over the
Mhm.
United States. Um, what do you see? What do you see your impact in these families, or how has this turned out? Like, have you gone back to see, hey, this family got like you still maintain some contacts, right? Do they ever come?
I mean, but to a certain degree. Matter of fact, it was so funny because of the rapport that I built with a couple of the family members. They would reach out to me like, "Hey, can you check in on to this?" They start referring people to you, and you're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, okay." And then because I've already built that rapport.
Mhm.
And there's some like right now I have a gentleman. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to help him at the level that I wanted to because I was not in a position to help him. But I looked at all my resources, and he lost his home, and it was so sad to hear the excruciating pain of the sheriff department knocking on the door on this quadriplegic.
Mm.
And they actually gave him until Monday, but then the sheriff department said, I feel horrible. I'm gonna give him an extra day. And to
Mhm.
watch the compassion of his caregiver using her money to put things in storage.
Oh wow.
You got to come with this with empathy. I came out
Yeah.
of pocket other fees to help out to mitigate the expenses because he didn't have the finances to cover certain things. Sometimes you're going to come out of pocket extra. I mean, I have done things where I've taken money out of my own pocket, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to stress about it. I'm just going to come out of pocket. I'm going to get paid back in other ways. Sometimes it's not all about the money, but it's about the compassion, the empathy, treating them like human beings, not
Mhm.
looking at them as a paycheck. Yeah, you're
Mhm.
making money, but at the same time, you got to have some compassion for these people.
Because your fee would just go on what the settlement statement, like the title and
So
all of it.
so my fee, how I get paid is I come in as a contingency fee. I make sure that the fee includes the attorney fees. So
Okay.
I come in, and let's just say like right now I have a case right now I'm working. It's a New Jersey case. The contingency fee is 25%. It's a probate case, but
Mhm.
it's a large amount of money. It's $123,000, close to
Mhm.
30,000. I'm going to get to, when, but the attorney's going to get 10,000 out of that money. That still leaves
Mhm.
me with a little bit of $18,000. I
Mhm.
still walk away with something. I try not to be greedy because these people still have to rebuild,
Mhm.
and I only charge 25%, whereas somebody else would charge 30, 35. No, I still need to cover the attorney fees and the complexity of the case. I need to make sure that we're covering all the fees that is necessary because there's several different situations. I got to file probate. I got to file to remove the lien that's on the property.
Mhm.
I have to make the mother the executor of the estate, and then there's multiple heirs.
Mm.
There was a wife. There were 3 children that were born. They were born prior to the marriage, so they're entitled. So it's all about the complexity. But I try to be
Mhm.
fair so that I can at least make sure that the financials, it has to make sense financially, but at the
Mhm.
same time, be a help to the families so that they can rebuild. What did the wife want to lose the house? No, she wanted to stay in the house. She tried to negotiate with the mortgage lender, but they wouldn't, because guess what? The father never added her to the house.
Mm-hmm.
Had he done that, she would have had more leverage.
Mm.
But they were married, right?
Yes, but he never added her to the house, and they would not
Hmm.
negotiate.
So marital rights didn't, or was it not marital?
If your name is not on that mortgage, oh, those lenders are not talking to you.
So it would have to be like rights of survivorship or something like that.
He did not file any documentation to add her on, at least on
Oh,
the
he
deed.
just as a single man or as a man,
Because
like
he
his
had
name
he,
as a
he
man,
he bought the home prior to their marriage.
as a
He
single
didn't
man.
he didn't
Okay,
bother adding her
Oh,
to the home.
I
And
see.
so when she tried to talk to the lender, and she wasn't on the mortgage,
Mm-hmm.
he
And we're
was on the
getting
mortgage.
into jargon there. Vesting is like how you take title when you
If you
buy a house, right?
When you are married, you need to find a way to, so if something happens to your spouse or
Mm-hmm.
your family member, you have a say so.
Mm-hmm.
Either put that
absolutely.
money, and I try to educate people about trust. Put your house in a trust. Then there's no probate. Then
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to worry about all of that.
Right.
Oh, okay.
You negate all of that.
That's a
Yeah.
thought.
How many hours do you spend in a day at this job?
Listen,
Ah,
this
we
is
used
not
to
hard.
listen.
Listen, it's not hard. It is not hard to do what I do and
Mm,
still keep it. And I mean, I do this full
mhm,
time, and
mhm.
I have a full time job.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But I have staff that help me.
And you don't have to attend the closing, or you
No,
got it.
there's no closing.
Oh, really?
The attorney does all the work.
Does it? Okay, you're just okay.
Yeah. So because remember, there are some states like the state of Florida. I have an attorney that handles everything. All I
Mm,
do is I bring him the contract. I bring him all the necessary documentation so that he can file. I bring him the deed. I bring him the clientele. I give him everything. If it's a probate case, I bring him the death certificates, all the heirs, all the information. As a private investigator, I become the paralegal. I do all the work that he requires, and then I hand it over to him or her. Because again, I have multiple attorneys. I'm not working with one attorney. I'm working with multiple attorneys nationwide. And so I'll hand it over to them if it's a probate case, and then I move on to the next person. I keep my clients abreast. I try to, at least if it's a probate case, depending on what state it is,
mhm.
every time I'm notified about something, hey, this is what I found out. And if I don't hear anything from my attorneys, hey, what's going on? I need to give this client an update of what's going on. So I want them knowing that what I know, they know. They're not asking me, hey, what's going on with my case?
man, this is interesting. I'll put my my resume around just in case you need it. I mean, these jobs where you look at, and when you told me about it, I was like, wait, what is this? And it's not. It's the traditional jobs that people are used to. It's not what it is. We're only used to like one particular job, and here you are
Right.
telling about this particular job that can be done in this way. And the fact that you actually go out and help people, that's what resonated with me a lot. And
Because people don't know. They don't
yeah.
know. You
Mhm.
don't know. And sometimes when that family member passed away, they didn't leave them with nothing. So by me giving them that little comfort of, hey, there's money you're entitled to. That's their inheritance.
Mm,
Just like with the case with the gentleman, my very first case,
Mhm.
his mother passed away and his grandmother had already passed away. Both their names were on the house, and I was able to assist them in getting those funds because their mom didn't leave him with anything. So he had a wife, he had children, and that was money that he needed to pay bills, and he had the holidays coming up, and to know that for the holidays they're going to have a great Christmas.
Hmm.
'cause
So, what would be your recommendation for families, so that they are more prepared for the unexpected and things like that?
Definitely get an insurance. I can't think of the name of the insurance just yet. Where it's mortgage insurance, where if something happens to you, that house is paid off.
Okay.
Second, get that house in a trust.
Hmm.
Get that house in a trust. But hire an attorney. Don't go over there and try to do no legal Zoom and try to do them. Try to get an attorney to put that house in the trust and fund that trust. So if
Okay.
God forbid something happened to you, guess what? You're not going through probate. A will is wonderful, but you still got to go to probate.
Hmm.
Put the house in the trust.
Okay. Even for
Make
like married couples with.
Put the house in a trust.
Okay.
Put the house in a trust.
Yeah, I've been wondering because there was a guy a couple, I think a year ago, if not a year ago. Yeah, it was a year ago. He lost his girlfriend, live-in wife,
Hmm.
and yeah, he didn't. I don't know if his name was on that deed, and it was a weird case. And there was all that insurance and all the stuff that they wanted to get. Um, she had left. It was like a secrecy that they had to go and try to find more information from
Mhm.
him, and he did not know anything of what the lady left behind. And yeah, it's
And
terrible
his
when
name wasn't on anything, right?
it was not in
Okay,
anything.
got
And
it.
see,
Yeah.
that's the sad thing about it. You got to prepare for the worst case scenario
Hmm.
Oh,
because
it
I
just
have
happened.
like
Miss
really.
Carter, it's like one day you say you're right. We have to prepare for this, guys. Make sure, because it's something that happens on beginning of April. By end of April, gone.
Mhm.
And
True.
now, how are you going to consolidate within that time? Because you're rushing to the hospital and they're in a coma and
Uh,
out in and out, and you're
Listen,
like,
when my mother passed away, she made it very clear. She was
hmm,
like, "Listen, I have a life insurance policy." She had already told me how she won things, and I made the joke to her. I remember having making the joke, and she said, I want you to put me in a mausoleum." And I said, "You got mausoleum money?" She said, "I have enough." She's like, "I have enough."
Hmm.
And trust and believe, when she passed away, that insurance money was well more than enough to
Hmm.
to grant her every little wish she had asked. She got her mausoleum.
hmm,
She got her mausoleum, and all the bells and whistles. Because guess what? She had put years into paying on that life insurance, so that we did not have to worry about that. We did not have to worry about any of that because she had taken care of her family, so that we didn't have to worry about that.
okay.
Yeah, I think we take for granted those, moments. My mother did something similar. My mom and dad, they planned for, you know, that moment that, that we don't ever want to think about, that, the person that you
Right.
love is not going to be
Like,
there any longer.
listen,
But all the, you
I
know.
take care. Listen. My daughter, she is well taken care of. I
Hmm.
mean, she's older. She's married. She gave me a grandson. She's not gonna want for nothing. Literally not gonna want for nothing.
So that's something to think about, with our financial literacy, that we need. And that's actually another discussion that would be good, doing that type of planning. Um,
And
Miss Carter
sitting
already
with
started.
just sitting with the financial advisor,
mhm,
looking at your finances. I mean, no little bit, no money is it. Even if you invest in index funds, just a
mhm.
little, but little, it adds up. It
Mhm.
adds up.
Okay. And then tell us more about your business, Overage Surplus Recovery.
Yes.
So I mean, basically, the premises of me going into that business was to I initially I came in saying, okay, I want to do surplus fund. But then I was like, there's bigger. There's a bigger gap here. We're not looking at how to make these people whole. And in order to make these people whole, I want to see how I can help them with their credit. I want to see how I can help them, give them the counseling they need by getting, trying to see how I can give them mental counseling. Because when you lose your home, you're going through the the mental breakdown, and your heart is not in it. You're going through all these different emotions. You don't want to hear all that.
Hmm.
You don't want to hear it. All you when you're talking to that person, all you hearing is noise. All they're
Mhm.
thinking about is the memory of the home that they were living in. All they're thinking about is, wow, I got to pick up and leave. All I'm thinking about how embarrassed I am, especially when you're dealing with people that are from the islands, especially what I've run into people, the Haitian community, where they're so embarrassed. The
Mm-hmm.
islanders, they're embarrassed. Okay, I just lost my house. So then
Mm-hmm.
they're not telling their kids that they've lost the house. They're so embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So
universal.
they're keeping it to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If it's universal, even us Kenyans, you lose a house, like, yeah, we know it's bad. You don't want the community to know about it,
Yeah, a
and
lot
you.
of times I've had friends that their parent has passed away and they have this second lien out there that they didn't nobody know about, that has to be addressed, Yeah. So it happens a lot, these financial secrets, you know. Yeah.
Now,
It's not funny. It's not funny.
look, I'm laughing about it, but look, I got enough problems over there, enough right now.
Yeah.
I might as well laugh about it because it's take every day when you wake up, there's something going on about this, about that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Something about my parents they did way back when we were younger, and yeah, they didn't consolidate everything and then come and say, hey, this is what you have, and sit down with you and tell you, okay, this is what I have, this is what you have, and this is what I'm going to do. Kind of advise you, but we're gonna stop that gap from here on and
It was a
work with.
different generation, they kind of moved differently, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But on that note, I wanted to ask, how can people connect with you, Miss Carter?
Well,
So that.
I'm on Instagram. It's called Overage Surplus Recovery. I have a Facebook page. You just put, Overage Surplus Recovery. And of course, they can go on my website. I have my phone number where they can reach out to me, and Overage Surplus Recovery. And I will gladly walk them through and assist them in navigating. And, some people are embarrassed and humiliated. There's nothing to be, embarrassed about. The goal is not to make things worse, but my goal is to make you whole. It's
Mhm.
not about just the money. It's about how can I make you whole? How can I be of service to you?
Yeah, so we need that. So guys, just hop on. Miss Carter will walk you through it on Facebook, Instagram for the other folks that want to get there. Also on you have the website you can
She's
go
on
to.
LinkedIn
Or,
and
I am on under
hey,
my real name, Brenda Carter.
all right, and any phone number you can just drop in right now that they can
Okay,
call.
they can call my office number, which is 305-508-4020. That number again is 305-508-4020.
I
That's
think
my
that
business phone line.
all right, that'll work, and we'll have people coming in through to check. And if I find somebody who needs help, I'll go ahead and tell them, hey, I have Miss Carter who is going to be able to assist you here and there because
I mean,
whatever you're doing is a
listen.
great job. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to come on your show. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Um,
absolutely.
and I'm excited about, how you guys are going to grow and get even bigger than you already are.
Oh, we appreciate that. For sure. All
All right.
right.
So with that, Jen, you know what I'm going to do next, right? Take us home.
Ooh. Oh.
He's waving his flag.
Why is he waving his flag? So are you here in the US right now?
Yes, ma'am. I'm in
Yeah.
Texas, Dallas, Texas.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
And
all
he
right.
represents Kenya every moment of the day.
Oh my God. So where are you right now?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, okay, all
So yeah.
right.
See, we're all over, and we got you from Florida.
Right. And
So,
then
Miss Carter, do you this is one last one. Do you actually? So when I said sapase, that was right. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
Sakmase.
okay. Okay.
You said
Okay.
it correctly. Sakmase. And then the response will be Nabule.
Oh, no,
mm-hmm.
Nabule.
thank you.
Okay.
All right. And shout out to
Do,
the
do, do you know
uh,
any other Creole words?
I only know one Creole song by Juduit. I think that's the name. He's a guy from Miami, and yeah, I'll send you the link. It's raining. It's popping. It's popping.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
All
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Okay.
Actually, two. Two. That's only no. I only know two.
Okay. All
we
right.
gotta work on that.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
work on that.
All
And
right.
shout out to
Well,
the
thank
chat.
you. Thank you
Abs-
so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Brown says, great information. Yep. Hey, pure great information. We did appreciate that. I'm sure
All
people
right.
when watching this after this, they'll gladly be asking for more questions.
Oh, definitely. Just to send them over and I'll answer their question. That's not a problem.
All
And
right.
we will do our formal closing. So we appreciate Ms. Brenda Carter, who has joined us with our financial literacy conversation. And everyone who tuned in, the audio episode will be available soon. We hope that you found the episode meaningful and consider sharing with friends and family. Our collective awareness and advocacy play a crucial role in creating positive change. We invite you all to stay tuned for more engaging content, and we look forward to continuing these important conversations in the future. And until next time, we will say take care.
Bye.